What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't. I just want to say one thing. Is it just me, or is it that Ty Lue is basically Doc Rivers 2.0? I mean, I just don't really, I know it may seem like I'm ranting and all these things, but, these things just need to be addressed. Ty Lue gets in every post game. And when I listen to him, I watch all the post games, just like I watch the games. I watch things detail for detail. I listen what they have to say after the post games because I want to see what their mindset is, where they're coming from and what adjustments they're going to make or how they feel about, what they saw, what they did, and, what they can improve on. That's just me. But when I look at him at the post games, as I've said before, you've heard me say this before, that he just seems nonchalant. He seems like, they let the guys figure it out and leave it be the way it is. And that's the same type of coaching mentality Doc Rivers had. And you know something? That's what got them beat in the bubble. Doc Rivers never takes no accountability, always just let the guys figure it out and leave them out on the floor. And it's on them because they're the players and Doc Rivers not out there playing. So it's on them. It's almost like it's a I don't know if it's like a passive aggressive. I don't know if it's like just passing the torch to them or passing the buck to them in regards to, let them be themselves. They'll figure it out. If they don't, oh, well, we'll move on. We'll lose and we'll go on to the next season and we'll try to figure it out then. That's not the mentality a coach needs to have when you're trying to win a championship. It just isn't. It just isn't at all. That's the wrong mentality. And sometimes I get that notion or that feel when I listen to Ty Lue talk. Maybe I should call him Ty Rivers. I don't know. But either way, that's the notion I get when I hear him talk sometime. Because even after the post game of the Kings last night, it just sounds like, oh, well, they were blitzing James Harden. He couldn't do this. He couldn't do that. And, we need to do this. And Sabonis is a big guy. He out-rebounded us, which he did. I think he had like 22 rebounds. I mean, he played better than every big the Clippers have, which, I mean, on a side note, that's definitely a problem because you got three bigs you could rotate out from. And I don't even think Plumlee was in the rotation last night. It was just basically Tice and Zubac. But that's really an issue because Zubac plays decent when he wants to. And this was prior to the injury. And Zubac kind of plays aggressive when he wants to. And Daniel Tice is really still trying to, find his niche with the team. And it's really kind of tough because there again, Ty Lue just explores a lot with the three bigs that he has. And he hasn't even really figured out how to really attack teams defensively with them in order to get more rebounds and more production out of the five position. But either way, my point is it's things like that. And it's not making adjustments when you should. And me, when I watch the Clippers a lot of times, I find myself questioning a lot of things that Ty Lue does. Like the Lakers game, I think it was not the last Lakers game, but the one before that where the Clippers had came back in that game or whatever, and he didn't play Kawhi Leonard, I think, something like that, with the last couple minutes to go. He sat Kawhi Leonard down or didn't play him or something like that in the last couple minutes when the Clippers could have made a run and possibly beat the Lakers. I think it was like December 31st game, actually, because it was LeBron's birthday. And I find that to be questionable. A lot of people question that one because it was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why not put your best player back in the game if you're only down 2 to 4 points or something like that with a minute or two to go and give yourself an opportunity to win? It's almost like he sabotaged the game for the Lakers to win for the sake of LeBron James, somebody he thinks highly of. But I mean, that's questionable. And there's been a lot of other things that I can sit and probably pinpoint here to there that's questionable. You throw in PJ Tucker after that little rant they had where they sent him home along with Bones Highland. Now that when they had that a couple months ago, then you start throwing him in the lineup, giving him more minutes, trying to appeal to him. If he doesn't fit the equation or fit the rotation, don't put him in there. You know what I'm saying? Find a way to get rid of him or let him sit on the bench and be who he's going to be. He's a professional. He has to understand his role. His role may not be to be productive on the floor like that because you don't fit the equation or you don't fit the direction that we're going. You know what I'm saying? As a coach, you got to be able to, have a backbone. You can't allow players to dictate. It's your job to dictate. That's what you do. It's your job to be the overseer in the situation and tell everybody what it's going to be. This is how we're going to play and this is who we are. And this is the way it's going to go going forward. And like I said, I just feel like a lot of things he's done, I can pinpoint a lot of things, like I said, that's questionable about his coaching. Rotation-wise, specifically, like I said, I don't know what he's doing with the bigs. I really don't. Sometime, I mean, when I look at the Clippers, I think they'd be way better off with Plumlee and or possibly Daniel Tice as a starting center in their lineup. I really do. And like I said, some people could look at it from a different angle. I definitely respect that. But sometimes I just think that why the hell is Zoo even out there as a starter? Zoo looks more like a backup center to me than actually a starting center. And I think that's one big problem that they actually have, because when you look at somebody like Sabonis last night, he had like 22 rebounds or something like that. But Zubac is taller than Sabonis. Like, matter of fact, all three of the Clippers bigs, I think, are taller than Sabonis. Sabonis is like 6'9", 6'10", maybe. And, it's like Zubac plays shorter than that. He doesn't play like his height. I think he's like 7'1" or 7'2". It's almost like the roles are reversed. It's like Sabonis plays like he's 7'3", and Zubac plays like he's 6'8" or 6'9". He's like he's an undersized big man or something like that. And this is where it comes to what I always talk about: mentality. You got to have the mentality of a dog. You got to have the mentality, that winning mentality. You got to have the thought process of dominance. And like I said, I don't see no dominance in Zubac. I don't see like a mean pit bull. I see a puppy. I see a chihuahua. You know what I'm saying? I see a bitch. That's what I see in Zubac. I don't really see somebody who you can really count on. Hey, he may not score a lot of points, but he's gonna bang in the paint and get us what we need. You remember DeAndre Ayton on the Phoenix Suns a couple years ago before they shipped his ass off to the Blazers? What was the biggest problem with DeAndre Ayton? They were saying, DeAndre Ayton at times when he's engaged, he plays like a big man of the size that he is. And then there was a lot of times when you watch DeAndre Ayton, he basically played undersized. He basically played not to his capability. And that's the same way I look at Zubac. I look at Zubac the exact same way. I've given him credit in games that he's played good. Like, he played good the other night. A couple nights ago, he had like 24 points, 11 rebounds. And nobody's asking him to get 24 points and 11 rebounds every night. That's not going to happen. But I mean, you got to give the Clippers more consistency in regards to at least being consistent on the boards. You can't let Domantas Sabonis get 8 offensive rebounds by himself, have double-digit rebounds. I think he had 22 rebounds, I think, altogether, and outplay you like that. And you're taller than he is. And he's playing more dominant than you, and because he has more spirit, he plays with more heart, he plays with more, dog in him, and everything that Zubac doesn't. And then again, you have somebody like Daniel Tice. He's not the most physical guy himself, but the most physical out the three that they have on the Clippers really is Mason Plumlee. He's not the most skilled out of the three, but he's the most physical out the three. And sometimes it comes down to just having that physicality. Somebody going out there and just banging with the team over and over and over. And see, the problem with Mason Plumlee is they're not getting the best out of him because he's in and out of the rotation. Ty Lue is not really using him to his strength. He's the type of guy that you really want to have in the playoffs who can bang with people. When we've watched Mason Plumlee over the years, anybody who's ever watched him play as a role player on other teams, he is a dog in the paint. He will go out there and battle in the paint. He will be physical, and he's a big man who can actually pass very well out of the paint. Or sometimes I've actually seen him take the ball from one end to the court to the other one, actually make a good pass to be a big man. That's very impressive. That's what I'm saying. They don't need scoring from a big man like that. They need a big man who's mainly focused on one thing: defense, being rough, giving that tenacity, and banging in the paint the way he's supposed to. And Mason Plumlee would do that. But the problem is you stunt his growth in a lot of ways because you play him here and there. He really doesn't get enough minutes. And you remember, I think early part of this season, when he did play, he was playing a lot better because, like I said, he was kind of getting into a little bit of a rhythm. And when he gets into a rhythm, he'll be the type of player that the Clippers need that can really, help their 5 position. He's not the best big man in the league, nowhere near close. But what I'm saying is, if you think about him being a banger and a bruiser in there and being a little bit more physical, and then at times he's a type of big man that if he'll run out to the 3-point line and defend somebody from the 3-point line going all the way into the paint and get a block shot. He's that type of guy. He plays with that type of energy. And that's what I'm saying. You need the high energy guys, the guys that play like that. But the problem is their motor is not turned up high enough because because they don't know when they're going to play. They don't know when they're going to be in the rotation. And then when they look at somebody like Zubac, and I know he's looking at Zubac saying this guy plays half-ass average and he's getting all these 25, 30 minutes a game and he's not even a factor out there. He should be a backup center in most people's minds. And that's why that's where I pretty much feel about Zubac now. But like I said, that's the reason why the Clippers are suffering in a lot of ways. The Clippers went on a 3-game winning streak, but it started out with the most eekiest type win that you ever can get against Philadelphia with controversial calls. And Kawhi made 2 back-to-back and 1 plays that actually saved the day. A game that Kawhi actually struggled and PG actually played pretty good. But they eked out a win that was so controversial that it almost felt like they didn't win in some ways. You know what I'm saying? But a win is a win. We'll definitely take it. But this is my point. Like, you got to be more. I don't know. They just got to be more locked in, more engaged. And they got to know their identity when they walk out on the floor and execute that every single time. And that starts with coaches, which is the reason why I say Ty Lue is coaching like Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers teams always do pretty decent in the regular season, but they always wane a little bit towards the latter part of the season, and they always fall on their face in the playoffs. And, Ty Lue, honestly, even with the Cleveland Cavaliers back in the day, the 2016 Cavaliers, yeah, you had LeBron, you had Kyrie, and you had Kevin Love, top players in the league. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Love was really good back then. So you had 3-star caliber players, and you were down 3-1 against the Warriors team who you had more size, you were more physical, and you had more, maybe not more talent, but you had more physicality on them. You know what I'm saying? You had guys that could defend a lot better than most of theirs besides Draymond Green. So, I mean, it's like, and I think, with Draymond getting suspended 1 or 2 games that series, that actually kind of built up a little bit of momentum for the Cleveland Cavaliers to make that huge comeback. So that's what I'm saying. You shouldn't even been down 3-1 in that series. That should have been like a tied series 2-2, or maybe you be up 3-2 in that series based upon what you had. So my point is, how good is his coaching? It took LeBron to do a Herculean effort, him and Kyrie to score 40-plus points each game in that series for him to come back and win the championship. That's not good coaching. That's just 2 players putting the team on their back, doing what they got to do to go out there and win. See, that's the type of coaching that basically says, hey, y'all go out there and figure it out, and that's how we're going to win this championship. That's not making no adjustments. That's not making no adjustments to make us play better. That's just 2 players doing what they got to do to help a team win. And that's not like saying that's not touching up your coaching skills. That's not saying you're a top-notch, high IQ coach. That's just basically coaching like a Doc Rivers. The same thing he did with all the talent he had on the Boston Celtics. Hey, y'all go out there and figure it out. Y'all got like 3-4 Hall of Famers. Y'all can figure it out. I'm just going to sit in the background and give you guys pointers here and there, but you guys are smart enough to do it. And they were, because all them players combined, KG, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, they played like 30-plus years in the league combined. If you combine all their years and usage on the floor, all that knowledge, they didn't really need Doc Rivers to win. So that's the reason why no Doc Rivers team has been successful since then, and probably won't be successful going forward, possibly. Who knows? And that's the reason why when we look at Ty Lue, the way he coaches a lot like his mentor, Doc Rivers. That's why I say he's a Doc Rivers 2.0, because the way he coaches the Clippers, because he's got all these Hall of Famers, now he's just coaching like, oh, okay, we'll figure it out, and this and that. It's not about just players figuring it out. It's about you putting them in the best position to be the best they can be. You know what I'm saying? You have to have players play on one accord for them to actually gel and build the momentum to actually be a championship team. And you got to put players in the right position. Zubac, honestly, he doesn't probably need to be a starter now. He really doesn't, because after the last several years I've seen him, he's just not good enough to be a starter. He is a second-tier backup center. And I hate to say that, because he's probably actually the most skilled or the best, if you think, numbers wise and all that, out of the 3 big men they have. But at the same time, if he's not cutting it, you got to do something different. You know what I'm saying? You got to stick with it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you're not going to get 24 and 11 out of him. What he did the other night, a few nights ago, 24 and 11 or something like that. That's once every lunar eclipse he'll get numbers like that. If I'm going to get numbers like that, or numbers close to that, and effort the way he played that night once every lunar eclipse, then I don't necessarily need that player. That's the reason why they only paid him like $30 million. He didn't get like no $80 million contract or something like that because they know he's mediocre. So it's like, you got to try to, you got to look at other areas and stick with it and kind of do what's best for the team and what makes them gel. If you want to play small ball, well, Zubac definitely doesn't need to be in the lineup. You need a center that's a little bit more athletic. You need a center that's a little bit more mobile to me, movable. And like I said, I think Mason Plumlee is the most mobile type big man they have. I'm not saying he's the best option, but I mean, he might be their best option because they have scoring in so many other areas. They don't really need scoring from a big man. They just need a big man to be, consistent in getting boards and being physical down there. And that's what they're missing as a team: physicality, consistency, and somebody that's a dog in the paint. And I know Mason Plumlee is definitely that. He's just not getting enough minutes. He's in and out the rotation. Sometime he's there, sometime he's not. And then when he had that injury, that kind of put him out the rotation even more technically. So it's like they're not really getting the best out of him because they're not putting him in position to be the player they really need him to be. They don't need a big man to score. They need a big man to really sit there and just focus on defense and get rebounds. That's the reason why teams are getting the best of the Clippers, because they're getting out rebounded. They're not as physical and nobody cares about them. All the guards just go right at the Clippers defensively because there's nobody in the paint that will at least contest consistently every single time and make it a little bit difficult for them. It's just not that there. It's not there for them. And that's why I said the 5 position is probably one of the most crucial areas that the Clippers are going to have trouble in when they enter the playoffs. So it's like, if you can't get scoring out of there, get some good rebounding out of there, get some physicality out of there. And Mason Plumlee is their guy. I'm telling you, for that specific reason, if they stick with him and give him the green light in that area. So, and it's other areas too, and we can touch on a lot of things, but like I said, the effort is their biggest thing, and they really got to figure things out soon. And like I said, I think they can. I'm not saying they can't, but Ty Lue just needs to be a little bit more consistent in his game plan. I think that'll help the players listen to him a lot more. The players react to him a lot better, and they won't go out and have these games where they're like, damn, every game I see, they're either down 15, 20 points before halftime. They're giving up 50 points to a Sixers team that doesn't even have Joel Embiid on it. You give up 45 points in the first quarter to a team like that about a week ago. That's inexcusable basketball. That's a team mentally coming out unprepared, and that falls on the coaching staff. And like I said, if he doesn't want to take onus for things, well, we just got to hope the Clippers players just figure it out, because he's not going to make any adjustments to what they need. Every adjustment he makes, and when he pulls guys in and out the rotation, it's all questionable. It really is. And it's like, damn, why did he do that? Oh, well, why did he take him out the starting lineup? He was playing good. Why did he put him in there when other guy was scorching on fire? You know what I'm saying? It's like you got the little things. The attention to detail is going to help you either win or it can help you lose if you don't figure them out.